Alright guys, so we're continuing our work on the stairs, and again what I'm working on now are the actual risers of the stairs. We had a couple of risers that had really good smooth wood that, you know, my wife was happy with, but some of the risers they used like a plywood, and even though we painted it, it looks okay, but you can still kind of see the plywood pattern. So all I'm doing, I'm just cutting these boards, and we're going to cover the plywood with these smooth boards and paint the boards white, so it should look a little bit better from a riser perspective. Again, I thought these stairs looked pretty good as is, but of course my wife is a perfectionist. So one of the things she's doing, again, even though we had pretty good wood on the stairs, they were a little bit uneven. There were some spots of glue and some imperfections. So she bought this really inexpensive Black & Decker sander from Lowe's. It's about 25 bucks. And she's not sanding down the entire stairs. You'll see in a minute the stairs have already been stained once. But once we applied the stain, you could see the imperfections a little bit better. So she is now just sanding some of the areas of imperfection. And then I think she's going to reapply, you know, an additional coat of stain. So we're not having to redo everything, but you'll see we're doing a little bit of spot sanding. And one of the keys when you're sanding, you got to be really careful whether it's stairs or a hardwood floor. You want to sand just enough, because if you sand too much, you will gouge, which we haven't done here. You've done a really great job. But if you sand too much, you will gouge, and obviously you can't really replace material that you've gouged out. So just be really careful with your sander. Materials. Now for the stairs themselves, for the landing, or the landings, you're generally gonna have three choices. If you are lucky, and we were pretty lucky, you can use the wood that is already there, right? And just sand this down and paint it, which is what we did. Now, if for whatever reason it's not good quality wood, it's heavily damaged, it's not the right size, you can buy, they actually sell wood specifically designed for stair landings. They actually sell this shape of wood. But that might be something, if you're getting to that level of detail, you might want to hire a carpenter or a professional. Again, we were lucky, we just sanded and stained the wood that was there. The other thing you can do, or the other type of material you can use is vinyl. So this is a vinyl product that has kind of a wood finish, but it's vinyl, it's a plastic. You can use this obviously on any of your larger landings. You can actually cover a whole floor with this, right? Not just stairs, you can do an entire floor with this. This is very good for areas that get a lot of moisture. If you want this look in a bathroom, we use some of this down in the leading towards the basement that I'll show you, because the basement floor tends to retain more moisture. This is a great product for that. But it is a flatter product. This is probably going to be your least expensive product. And it's very easy to install, so this is great for beginners. You basically, it's peel and stick. You peel off the back and stick it. They do also sell vinyl specifically for stair treads as well. So you can kind of cover the stair treads in vinyl. This is a great choice. Now, when you talk about cutting this, and I'll show you the tools in a minute, you kind of got two choices. You can use a box cutter and kind of score it, and I would recommend scoring it on the back and kind of split it. Or you can just use a saw, just like you would cut a regular piece of wood, and I'll show you the saw and the box cutter here in a minute. So this is the least expensive choice, and great for beginners. This next product, this is laminate. Now laminate is actually wood. This is a wood product, but it's engineered wood. So it's probably like a wood pulp, right? Probably sawdust that they've mixed it with a couple of other materials and kind of molded it, but it cuts very similar to wood. It behaves like wood. So this is kind of the next best thing to wood. In terms of, you know, resale value and price, this is probably going to be your middle option, right? The high-end option is always going to be real wood. This is your middle option, and then vinyl is going to be your more affordable option. And vinyl, again, is great for areas that get a lot of wear, a lot of moisture, kids, pets. So vinyl is a great choice. So when you talk about cutting these materials, one of the main things to keep in mind is safety first. You're going to be working with a lot of sharp tools like box cutters. I've got my miter saw here. You might use a table saw, right? So just make sure you're being safe with your hands, wear your eye protection. In terms of the vinyl product, and this is just kind of some throwaway scrap. Again, I can take like this box cutter and simply score the back. So you would score that, and it takes a few tries, and you want to kind of have a straight edge, so you might put like a straight edge against here and just kind of score the back, and then you can cut it like that. Now, only do that for a small area. If you're trying to score a bunch of vinyl for a big, large area, you're going to get tired real quick. For anything larger than that, or for large floor jobs, you want to get you a miter saw. This saw I think was maybe $100, maybe $110, well worth the investment. I can put the materials on here and cut even the vinyl, right? Just a sample. Even something like this. Perfect straight line. And again, even with the, this is the laminate product, right? We could slap this on here. And cuts like butter. Laminate, most of it is like a groove system. So you end up kind of sliding it into place, right? And there are different types of groove systems. So this is, you kind of slide it into place. So you've got to kind of think about the geometry and where you want the wood to slide and how you want to fit the wood in place. So basically what we're going to do, guys, is this is at the bottom level at the basement. So this is our vinyl flooring. Like I said, we're just about done. This has already been laid down, and I guess we shouldn't use the term stained. You kind of lightly brushed it.
Lightly brushed it on, and I didn't wipe it off.
Right.
I kind of like wiped it on and basically painted the stain on. We'll just go with that.
And you can see here you got the vinyl, but then you've got the wood. And I think the wood looks good, but I think there's some little imperfections here you're going to kind of sand down a little bit. So all I'm going to do now, I'll just put in this last kind of piece. There's a couple of gaps here, so we'll put in this piece. All I'm going to do is kind of peel off the back, nice and slow. Right? And then I'm going to kind of just fit it in right here. Okay guys, so this is the finished product. Again, I thought it looked great before, but we did need to do a little bit of touch up. So just to review, the stairs were already a natural wood that we were able to use. It was covered in carpet. The Unfrumpy Mommy took the carpet off with a few handy tools. We originally stained the wood, but there were a few blemishes, so we went back and sanded. Down at the landing, that was covered in plywood that we couldn't use, so we added some additional product. That is a laminate product, but you see it matches up very well, so we had a lot of fun doing that. I used my miter saw to cut that to size, and it basically snapped into. At our bottom landing, we actually used a vinyl product because that is on the basement level, so it's very much moisture resistant, and that is something, again, you can either cut with a box cutter or a miter saw or table saw.